In this particular pre-lecture, we're going to take a look at work in a system. So work in a system is going to be consistent of two components, something that we call shaft work and something that we call flow work. So I apologize, my video looks like it's lagging a little bit, but you can hear me just fine, I'm sure. So when we talk about shaft work, the rate of work that's done on the process by a fluid, by a moving part within the system, something like a pump motor, is going to be shaft work in the system. So we've got something that's moving a fluid in the system. Flow work is the rate of work that's done on the fluid at the system inlet minus the work done at the outlet. So flow work is basically what you're going to learn in fluid mechanics and how things are going to move through the system. And it's going to be the difference in the work that's done at the inlet minus the outlet in the system. Okay, so when we start to look at these problems, it's going to depend on whether the system is the fluid or if the system contains a fluid. And so we might want to watch out for words like pumps or rotors. We might want to watch out for words like fluids or inlets and outlets going forward. So if we take a look at this following process, we're assuming that we have some kind of a pressure coming in and some kind of a volumetric flow rate coming into a process unit. And then we also have some kind of a volumetric flow rate out and some kind of a pressure out. So the fluid entering the system is going to do work on the system. So that should be do work on the system, that very last word right here. Let me grab my laser pointer. This should be on the system. I apologize for that error. And that work is the work in. It's going to be the pressure in times the volumetric flow in. So if you take a look at the units, right, if we multiply a Newton per meter squared times a meter cubed per second, we get units of joules per second. And you'll notice that all of these terms have dots over them, the work terms and the volumetric flow terms. Pressure does not. So we're going to have some work coming into the system, and we're going to have some work leaving the system, and that fluid is then going to do work on the surroundings. And so that's going to be a pressure out times a volumetric flow rate out. And so the way that we say the net work that's done on a fluid in a system, the net work is going to be the pressure in times the volumetric flow rate in minus the pressure out times the volumetric flow rate out. So that's just a quick little primer on what's going on with work. Generally, for flow work, this is something that we're going to have to calculate using pressures and volumes. But for shaft work, many times we're given the amount of joules per second or something like that that a pump is producing. So there'll be two ways that we deal with work as we move forward in this class.